First item of business is the approval of the agenda. Has everybody looked that over and got any questions or issues? Otherwise, we'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make
So
a motion
moved.
to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Teresa, seconded by Jack. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll have Jeff call the vote.
All right, District 1
Yes.
and District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes,
District 5.
Yes,
All right,
Good.
passes.
And we have the approval of the previous minutes, those being the minutes of October 27th public hearing. We all have a chance to read those. Any issues or entertain a motion to approve?
Are they okay, Teresa?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. I didn't get them till this morning, so I quickly went through them, but
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Teresa, was that just the October 27th and then we'll do another vote on the 17th?
that's what we usually do.
Right, okay. Motion and a second to approve the minutes of October 27th. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Jeff can call the vote.
District 1,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
4,
Yes,
and 5.
yep,
Next is the October 17th board meeting and work group session.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second them.
Motion made and seconded to approve the minutes of October 17th. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll have Jeff call the vote.
District 1,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
4,
Yes,
5.
Yes,
Pass.
Next item of business is public comment. We do have some other names on here, Mr. Van Gundy's. Any public comment?
No, I'm just here with Emily.
Okay. Just checking. Emily, did you have a comment or waiting for your section? Oh, you're on mute.
I'll be with the fair board.
Okay. Hearing no public comment, we will go to the COVID-19 update from Public Health.
All right, good morning, commissioners. I'm trying to struggle for new things to say about COVID. I think everybody's aware that we are in the midst of a pretty significant spike in cases. That spike in cases really reinforces the fact that we're seeing pretty pervasive community spread of COVID in our county, surrounding counties. And I think with the coming holidays and with weather turning cooler, people are spending more time indoors. Those things have a great deal of concern within the public health community as to the spread of the virus in the coming weeks. I think we've been clear all along about our priorities from Houston County Public Health as far as our response around messaging, around case investigation and contact tracing, and around consulting with local partners, be they school districts, business leaders, nonprofit organizations, and the like. One of the big things that I wanted to, discuss this morning is we currently have 9 people who are assigned to do case investigation and contact tracing. To be clear, those aren't full-time people doing that. We have a rotation, and the state posts a list of positive cases, new positive cases on a daily basis, or actually throughout the day. And as we're working on those positive cases, we rotate through those individuals who are each now trained to do case investigation and contact tracing. As we've seen this spike, the whole system, including our system, has been inundated. So we have a tendency to see positive cases coming through the system, not as swiftly as they did for quite a while. And then when we have, 15 or 20 cases in a day, and then the next day we have 15 or 20 cases, we're also locally finding it difficult to stay caught up with that. The importance of case investigation and contact tracing is that it's timely. If somebody is a positive case and we're not identifying contacts until many days later, we really lose the benefit of doing that case investigation and contact tracing, especially the contact tracing side of it. And so we've been thinking through how we can get information out more quickly, as opposed to waiting until we get people to get to them in the list. Starting today, we put together a letter that will be going to all positive cases, and it gives the basic information about the isolation that's expected of positive cases, how we identify contacts, and what quarantine looks like, and some of those core elements that are discussed during the case investigation and contact tracing process. That doesn't mean we're not going to continue doing case investigation and contact tracing, at least for the time being. But it does get information out there to those individuals in a more timely basis. Some of this was based on some discussion we had at a recent board meeting, and I think Commissioner Burns, you brought up some communication people were getting via letter, and it made us start thinking, is this a way that we can get our information out in a more timely manner and as we're working through those lists. I think, however, it bears noting that some significant counties in the state, not the least of which is Olmsted, is starting to kind of wave a white flag and say they can't keep up with the numbers of cases and do an adequate job of case investigation and contact tracing. The state is in the process of thinking through prioritization so that we look at cases and try to determine which ones are most important to get to and have those discussions with. So we're already thinking through that and working on, kind of a broad-based approach that everybody who's a positive case. So for instance, today, everybody on that list gets this letter, and the letter also has contact information in case people have or questions or what have you. I'm going to have Heather amplify this a little bit, as she's been at the forefront of that. So if you have anything you want to add, Heather.
Not really. It's just we just really feel it's important that as soon as we can get information in the hands of our residents, we just want people to make educated and informed decisions. The whole other layer of this, which I will not get into because it's a little, daunting and kind of it gets me a little frustrated, is the regional approach that the state has gone to making these phone calls. So that's another conversation. If anyone wants to have it, I'm more than willing to definitely have a conversation with that. But, we feel that there's value in reaching out locally. We want people to call us with questions. They're invited to call us if they have questions on anything in the letter. The letter also does indicate that they may or may not receive a letter from either the Department of Health or their healthcare provider. So it's not intended to be medical advice, but really guidance for them as they're making those decisions and moving forward with trying to minimize the spread of each case that we kind of come across our screen, so to speak. Is there any questions on the letter or?
Some of the challenges we're having, Heather alluded to with, I think we told you in weeks past about a move to a regional approach to this case investigation and contact tracing. And there's been some good things to that and some real challenging things to that. I think the pooling of phone calls through technology means that those phone calls are going out of not local numbers. And so I think that impacts negatively the number of people who will pick up those calls. I know when I get a call on my cell phone that says pillager, I'm not going to pick it up. Who do I know there? And so, we're working with the state on some of those idiosyncrasies as well. I think the thing that's hard is it isn't a steady flow of cases. We're seeing a almost vertical climb, and also some challenges in some of those systems that we've put in place. Probably fine systems, but the growth in cases is outstripping the benefits that we can see from that. So locally, we're trying to come up with some reasonable ways that we can get information out there. The other thing I'll note is that we're hearing, and we'll probably continue to hear, that there's different guidance coming from different places. Some people are getting different guidance than we have out there that comes from Minnesota Department of Health and the CDC. Some healthcare providers or other places have different guidance. And so unfortunately, that means that some of our constituents are confused. They get told one thing by a healthcare provider, and then when we connect with them, we're telling them something different. Also something we're working on with the state of Minnesota, MDH, to try and come up with more consistent messaging across the state. So, yeah, Bob.
Just a question, when you're doing your contact tracing and reviewing of the cases, are you seeing a lot of overlap? I mean, this person and this person were in the same place and came up with, you seeing overlap as far as that's concerned?
I would say we're seeing a lot of household spread right now, so overlap within a household. As far as tying to a location to get to that point, MDH has a role in that. So the value of the case investigation and contact trace interview is to gather that information. So it can be difficult to draw those conclusions when we don't have all the data from people. But there's a threshold, a minimum number of cases that epidemiologically needs to be tied to a location to consider it kind of a cluster, so to speak. But I would say predominantly more so now than previous, we're seeing the household spread amongst our cases.
Teresa.
First of all, I know that what Audrey did yesterday for the whole county, those Zoom meetings were very informative. She did a really good job. Yep. Second of all, when, as you probably have heard, Dick has COVID, has no idea where he got it, but he did get contacted by MDH, the regional contact person, and he got a text first saying, don't hang up on this number that we're calling you, which I thought was really good because, like you say, it could be your car warranty is up otherwise, So that really helped, because then right after that, he did get a call, but they really encouraged too that he contact the people he had been in contact with, which wasn't too many, but he did give their names also. Mm-hmm. So, and we too have gotten conflicting reports from 3 different nurses who keep calling him every other day to see how he's doing about our quarantine time. And I think I brought that up at Audrey's meeting yesterday. I was told that I tested negative and I could go off quarantine the same time he did. Well, Audrey brought up that I'm supposed to be in for 14 days. So I'm doing the 14 days because of that, but.
Jack.
Yeah, Teresa, I guess I was on Audrey's call yesterday. I don't recall, I don't know if I left it too early or something, but anyhow, I didn't know Dick had it. I'm very sorry. How is he doing?
He's doing good. He has a mild case. He's got the fatigue and the low-grade fever, basically.
Okay.
And he's sick.
Commissioner Miller, we had 2 sessions, so I think.
I was in the afternoon.
You were at the 12:30?
Yes.
Okay, that's why. I would just have one comment quickly, and that's that I thought Audrey did a very nice job. Again, John and Heather, the frustration I think out in the community again is people always want to know. I mean, if you hear there was a fire in La Crescent, of course you want to know where was it, whose house, any damage, anyone hurt. I mean, and it's the same thing here. If you hear two people 70 have it, oh gosh, I wonder, any idea who it is? And that's going to continue, but I understand your approach and support it. It's the questions and the controversial issues, they're not going to go away, and I guess we just plow through them.
Yes.
And I do understand where you're coming from, and that you get, questions, or, we get different, what about this, what about that from our community. But, I think our message of community spread is the important message to give. And, when we go out of our home, we need to think about and really protect ourselves in a way that we're likely going to come into contact with someone who's infectious and potentially have it. But we do appreciate the support of that message, and we feel it's the right message to give our community, so that they, it is getting tiresome, and it can be fatiguing with the guidance. It really can. So, I do appreciate that a great deal. So thank you.
I think there's fatigue with us in public health, but there's fatigue in our community as well. And understandable. What are we, 9 months into this? And things look as bad now as they ever have, which is really dispiriting. And so I can see that community members have fatigue as well. And I think this is probably one of the most important times to remain vigilant through the holidays, through the coming weeks. It's really going to tell the tale of the coming months, I believe.
And just to wrap up, if you could, just a quick reminder on there's saliva testing available now free for all residents to submit and request online, as well as the testing site in Winona, and of course the medical facilities and such. But John, there's a post out. Apparently the Caledonia School is working with Audrey, and they're looking at trying to do a community testing here. You have any further detail on that at this point?
What I've heard about that is it's not a community-wide testing, but rather a community of Caledonia staff and students and families.
Okay.
And I know that Audrey's been working with Caledonia and also with MDH on that. I heard about that here a few days ago, so I don't know, Heather, do you have anything more you can add on that?
Yeah, I kind of inadvertently was aware of a Zoom meeting last night. It ended up in my junk mail, so I didn't attend it, but Audrey did. And when they initially had conversations, it was really geared towards, the community of the school and district, residents, attendees, staff. And it sounds like, John, I'm not sure because we haven't had a chance to connect this morning, but it sounds like there might be some conversation. I think they're determining if they do open that up to the community.
Okay.
So that is something that wasn't part of the original conversation. And so I don't want to speak too much about that because I don't have the knowledge to speak to it. The school is working with MDH on kind of coordinating that, but I think that has now become a part of the conversation, but I don't have any details yet. Okay. But certainly would share that and promote that within the community if that's an option for our residents, certainly.
I think testing has been a challenge for Houston County residents throughout this pandemic. So with the advent of home testing and the saliva test in Winona and now with something like this, those are all positive developments. I think having more options for people to get tested is always a good thing. So, and it's not surprising to me that Audrey is in the center of that. And so we need to connect with her and we'll have more information about that.
Thanks.
Very good. Thank you. I see Chairman Johnson has joined us. Are you staying for a while and going to take over the meeting? You're on mute. There you go.
No, no, you can keep going, Bob, because I'm probably going to have to duck out here shortly. So I just, instead of just sitting there twiddling my thumbs, I thought I'd join in. So
Good, good. Next item of business is the consent agenda. If you've looked at your packet and seen the consent agenda, is there any questions with regard to the consent agenda? Lisa?
I have one question. I think, boy, it's good to see all those people in the assessors department moving forward on their certification. But I would like to hold off on advertising for that appraiser position until we finish the mediation series.
Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
yep.
Is there any discussion on that?
We can take your input, Cindy.
My input is we have been in the last almost 4 years playing catch up, catch up, catch up. We are now short another person at a crucial part of the year when we're winding up our values and setting them forth for spring. To be short until the mediation and or arbitration is over will put us into next year, I'm pretty sure. And then we're going to have to spend a month on getting somebody in, advertising, interviewing, having them give their notice. We'll be into February and March. If you want to have a problem at local boards again, then I would say don't fill it. If you want to have things run smooth, we should probably get a person in that position.
Okay. Well, with regard to the approval of a competitive search, we could do the competitive search. There's no guarantee that we'd find somebody or would hire somebody if you know, from that perspective.
Exactly, but you'd be further ahead.
But if you do a competitive search, that means you are going to hire another appraiser. I mean, you can't just do a search and say, oh, no, we changed our mind. We're not going to do that now. That's why I think we should table this until we get the assessor position resolved.
Actually, Eric, I think we could do that. We aren't, I don't think we're forced to hire. Things change. And if we do a competitive search and at the time the situation changes, we just say, I'm sorry, but we've decided not to hire at this time or whatever. I guess I just would agree that given the candidates or potential candidates out there or lack of them, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get our ball on the field here and see what's possible.
I guess procedurally, if you'd like to take that item and move it off the consent agenda and onto the action items and address it that way.
Why don't we do that? Then we can have a regular vote on just that one item. So we'll move item 5 to the approval for the action items.
Consent
On
agenda.
the other items, with regard to the VSO enhancement grant, I read through the grant. How much is the grant for?
$10,000.
10,000.
Yep. And that's been pretty stable.
Okay. I saw the other, I just didn't see that. Okay. Any other comments or concerns with regard to the consent agenda?
I would move to approve the consent agenda with the change that we approved.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll have Jeff call the vote.
All right. District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4.
Yeah.
District 5.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. And again, just another congratulations to Luke, Joe, and Dave for advancing in their certifications.
Very much. Next item is appointments. We have an appointment with Emily Johnson, the fair manager for the Houston County Agricultural Society. So we'll turn it over to you, Emily.
Now you still,
Emily, you're on mute.
there we go.
There you go.
All right. Each year we come back to the board and ask, last couple of years, you guys have had us come back after our annual meeting to get the additional $4,000 appropriation, and then we go forward for the following year. So you guys should have our annual report for the year. Obviously, you know, this year was hard with COVID and everything. We couldn't have a fair. It was probably the hardest decision we ever had to make to cancel it out. I believe there was maybe 1 or 2 fairs in the entire state of Minnesota this year. Like I said, hardest decision we ever had to make. The 4-H did continue, and they did have their showcase with their livestock in person. We did support them financially where we were sitting at the time. We worked with them, and every year we pretty much cover their expenses. We pay for all their ribbons, we pay for all their judges, all the expenses on the fairgrounds. At that point, we had no clue where we were sitting financially, so we split expenses with them. 4-H, we agreed with them. The ribbons, the judges, any electrical on the grounds, any garbage expenses, we split 50-50 with them. However, any of the premiums that the kids did receive, the fair board paid 100% this year. Obviously, their kids' attendance was down and stuff, but we did pay all the premiums 100%. The other judges and ribbons and stuff, we split expenses with 4-H. So we worked with them however we possibly could. But we survived. We made it through, and we're plugging forward. Luckily, all of our contracts that were in place prior to March, everything did roll over. So we did not get burned on any of our contracts. So we are in place for next year with the fact that hopefully we'll be able to plug forward and have a fair in 2021. Talking with other fairs and throughout the state, a lot of fairs are still leery. We don't know where COVID's going to take us. So that's topic of conversation with a lot of fairs right now. What's going to happen? Obviously, there's going to be a lot of changes. Social distancing, safety, all that kind of stuff. So we need all the support we can get. We need to obviously be looking at changes, safety, all that kind of stuff going forward, as long as we are able to have a fair. So going forward, we hope that we do have the county on our side as well to do the best that we can do going forward. Even as awful as the year was, we were able to get up our new livestock building and get that completed. Doors were put on this past week, so we do have that enclosed now. So that was a huge undertaking, especially in probably the worst year we could have had. So that was big for us. So I guess that's kind of a recap for us for the year.
Okay. Any questions from anybody? Teresa?
I was very impressed with your financial report this year. It was very thorough, very detailed. I appreciated that.
You bet. From recommendation from the board, we have gone through and we've cleaned up our bookkeeping, cleaned it up quite a bit. We've had a lot of the stuff has been duplicated, put in multiple things, put in same categories in different spots. We've done a lot of house cleaning, worked with our accountant quite a bit, and cleaned it up.
Look good.
Thank you.
Okay.
So one question I had with regard to the request. Is this 4,000 over and above the 24?
No,
No,
Oh,
no.
no.
no, we collected 24 and then we get the stipulation, we come back with our review and then we get an additional 4 on top of 20.
Okay. Okay,
Right.
so it is the 24, not 24.
Yep.
Okay,
Right.
all right.
And this, just to note that this $4,000 actually gets approved with the 2021 appropriations.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you all do a pretty good job. You're, and it's just, it was sad to have the fair canceled last year. But you know, like you said, that was the hardest decision you had to make, and you had to make it. So, and it was
We did.
understandable. Yeah, and it was understandable. So,
We did. We waited. We didn't make the call until the 20th of June. At that point, there was 5 fairs out of 93 in the state of Minnesota left. So we waited as long as we possibly could.
I'll just add too, it wasn't a quick 5-minute discussion. It was definitely a long heated, can we try to make something work? So I know every member on the fair board was pretty upset, pretty sad that we had to do that, but it was the right thing to do. I also just want to note, thanks to Emily and the entire fair board, like everybody is very conscious of the money that we go through every year, whether it's earned or whether it's from the county members, that kind of thing. And if we wouldn't have been very conscious with our money in the past and watching where we're spending it, I think we would have been in big trouble this year. We've been able to, like Emily said, pay our contracts, get this building going. We've really worked hard to make sure things are as clear and transparent as possible, and still helping our 4-H members. So good job to Emily and the entire fair board.
and I'll second that.
We, like I said, this was the toughest call we've ever had to make. Me and Pat and Jessica, another board member, had one of the decisions. We met with public health going, hey, do you have any insight? What can we do? What's going to happen? Where are we going to be in 2 months? We sat with them and we're like, hey, where are we at? What can you tell us? And they're like, we can't answer this. And we're like, well, what if? And they're like, we think you kind of answered your own question without us telling you. And it's like, we got off that conversation and we're like, crap, we know what we have to do, but we don't wanna.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, we knew without knowing.
Jack, you got a question?
Just a comment, Emily, if everything hopefully goes well and 2021 happens, would you please try to bring back the senior spelling bee?
We will definitely see what we can do.
Yeah, I've got one little corner in my trophy case that's empty and I just soon try to fill that. So thank you.
You bet. We're always looking at new things to bring back to the fair as well.
But on a serious note, again, your decision, as tough as it was, I believe was the right one. And thanks again for your hard work.
You bet. We're looking out for the community as much as we want to keep, the tradition going and, normality for the community. The safety was number one.
So where are you at on the building, Emily? I know it's completed. So and how are you coming on the funding of that or the paying for that or?
At this point on the building, like I said, the doors were just installed this week.
Okay.
So we did that. We will have a little bit of concrete work in the spring to do like the approaches to the doors and stuff like that. We're gonna let the ground obviously settle throughout the winter and stuff. A few minor things left. We'll do some fans and whatnot in the springtime. We do have a little bit, we will have some funding a little bit to roll over into like phase 2. And then we'll start into fundraising and stuff going into phase 2, start going into another building for that.
Okay.
But
So we did good.
so you don't have much in the way of outstanding debt on the new building?
Nope, the new building, and that was part of it. We knew that being it was on county land, the banks were not gonna fund us, so going into the building and the cost of the building, we were not gonna start the building until we knew we could pay for it.
Cool, good. Anybody else, anything else for Emily?
Keep up the good job.
Thank you.
If not, we will move on to action items. Action item number 1 is the consideration of approving the $4,000 annual additional appropriation to the Houston County Agricultural Society.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the $4,000 additional annual funding. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll turn the vote over to Jeff.
All right, District 1. District 2.
Yes.
District 3.
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Carry.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gundy. Action item number 2 is a consideration of approving the CARES Act grant allocations to Salco in the amount of $10,250, SEMCAC in the amount of $10,000, SEAMS in the amount of $5,000, and Hiawatha Valley in the amount of $5,554. Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. So these are organizations that the board was interested in supporting, but didn't quite fall into the rules that we had for our business assistance grant. Hiawatha Valley specifically had applied, but they're not their headquarters isn't located in Hiawatha, in Houston County, but of course they've got a facility here in Caledonia, and so all of their expenses listed are related to the Houston County facility and charges. SEAMS is the EMS support, and again, that's all towards support of our EMS units across the county, primarily to support training and to support some PPE and such that they distribute. The SEMCAC $10,000, that is a combination of support to the food programs that they have. It's to purchase some refrigeration units to support their food shelf here in Caledonia, and the Tenberg Center Kitchen in Rushford. But while it's across the county line, that's the facility that they use to provide meals to Hoka, Houston, La Crescent, Spring Groves, all of our communities. There's some of that is for food prep station sanitation to support the senior meals at Elsie's, which has been going well, and then also some of it for some program marketing and such towards their housing assistance program. So it covers a wide swath of what SEMCAC offers the county. And then Selco with the library one, that is the cost Selco paid over and above what the individual libraries pay for the Overdrive service, which is their online access. And I don't think I included it in the message I sent last night, but I have from them a list of some numbers related to their service. They saw an increase of reduced wait time on most of their popular titles from 50 days to 30 days. Broader collection expanded from 17,000 to 21,000 titles. And then they had an increase in membership of people who signed up and were serving online as well. So some 3,000 additional Overdrive titles checked out. So helping to keep library services going to county residents and keep them all distance. So those are the bases for those grant allocations.
Well, I think they're all good uses of the CARES fund money. Any conversation? Otherwise, we'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the CARES grant allocations to those organizations.
I'll second it.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll turn the vote over to Jeff.
Thank you. District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
and District 5.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to action item number 3. That is a consideration of approving CARES Act allocations for reimbursement of pandemic-related expenses for Houston County. And I'll let you explain that, Jeff.
All right. I'm going to pull up the spreadsheet that I've sent out with our allocations. Move things around on the windows here. 1 second. Share screen.
So what is the final date that we have to have this spent?
So our deadline is, we're supposed to spend the money by the 1st of December. We've got our deadline to report everything by the 9th of December and return unspent funds by the 10th of December. To answer that question, there has been some allowance for holding on to money to pay bills if we, if we've ordered something in time and are waiting for it to arrive. So there is some allowance for that. That guidance has waffled a little bit over the past few months, but so those are the dates we're looking at there. And then
Have we been doing monthly reports on this, or?
Yeah. All right. So on to the overall spending plan, added a column to keep track of what was spent, but the business grants, round ones, that's all been allocated and spent, as our technology fund has all been approved. So everything in green there has been approved previously by the board, and we're working on final allocations. I have everything up to the 19th. I know we have some additional payments and things this week, so we'll get that updated with this week's numbers as well. So a lot of that is tied up in there. This was just approved a moment ago, which takes us down to these expenses here in blue. We had originally allocated about 20,000 for PPE, 30 for cleaning supplies. Our actual expenses at this point come out to just under 11,000. And again, there might be some more this week. We'll update that. That's as of the 19th. We've previously discussed setting aside money for emergency management, and then would like to add, as Annie's totals come in, would like to add 2 of the trip light displays. Eric, you got to see this morning. It's what's active in room 219 right now.
Yep.
Essentially a 65-inch TV touchscreen running a computer, and so on the background it's got on the back side of it, it's got a computer for running Zoom primarily, but is wonderful for presentations and things. And the one that is in 219 right now is officially for supporting classes and stuff over at the jail. So we'd like to have 2 more of these that we can move them around from meeting to meeting. And as we hopefully get the transition into more of a hybrid approach, be able to support hybrid meetings with those tools. So looking for approval this morning on these 4 items: the PPE, cleaning supplies, the emergency management, the trip light displays, and then up for discussion, we've looked at the possibility of a business assistance grant and doing a very short rapid fire program to support those businesses affected by the dial back, Governor's Executive Order 20-99. Looking through the list of businesses that applied and received our original grants, there's in the neighborhood of about 24, 25 that jump out that would qualify for this. If we restrict it to those that are limited to directly affected by the governor's order, the reduction in services for restaurants and bars, serving food, and then gyms. The rest of the businesses weren't affected by that.
Yeah.
Jack, you had a question?
Yeah, if these are all approved and the money are we gonna zero out?
Yeah, so the proposal is that anything left as these turn into actual numbers is to put the remainder of the money towards our payroll expenses. And that would be prioritized first towards the extra people that we hired to support pandemic response, supporting the door, election, extra help, that kind of thing. Second, towards our public health employees, anything that hasn't been reimbursed there. And then third, towards our other previously budgeted payroll that has been diverted to different use. So a portion of my salary, a portion of Carol's salary, John's salary, Tessa's salary, to balance the extras that we've done in support of the pandemic response.
Okay, just a question then, if with these deadlines, the verification, or I mean, is it a checks in the mail situation, or the check's been written, or how do we justify that it's been spent under the deadline and so forth?
Yeah, we're trying to get invoices on everything that we're buying and get those in place so that we can write the check for those, and then whatever's left, we'll have to have an invoice on the way.
Because we're really fighting a pretty close deadline here.
Yep.
Okay.
Greg?
Yeah, I was looking at that 30,000 that you want to give out to small business again. Was there any people left over from round 2 that didn't get money? That we could do that too?
There are, I think Allison's on here. I think she received one or two inquiries from companies that hadn't met the deadlines onto our first round. And so I guess that'd be up to the board if you want to open up Pandora's box and open it up widely. For the sake of time, I would be concerned with just reopening to those businesses that have previously been approved and accepted and are now affected again.
The problem is that we're running out of time here. The first is next week.
Mm-hmm.
And how would we advertise this and get this out to the businesses?
Well, if we restricted it to businesses, that have previously applied, then it would be a matter of email contact and phone contact with those businesses. And again, I think it's about 25 businesses that would fit under these rules. And so,
but we have to legally, we'd have to advertise this because there might be some businesses that didn't apply in the other 3 rounds that all of a sudden now they would like to apply. I mean, if we just reach out to the business that previously applied, we're picking, you know what I'm saying? We're not being, I don't know how you say it, fair.
Understand the concern. I guess as we discuss it, I would say that the first round was open for quite a while. We beat the bushes pretty good to reach all the eligible businesses. Those that are affected by this round are like I said, bars, restaurants, gyms, and I think we have, by and large, all of those applied the first time around. But I understand the concern to.
Well, I think that, yeah, I mean, we have to be careful here so we're fair. We can't be picking or choosing, is what I'm saying. We're just running out of time. I'd like to do something like that. I don't know if it would be possible to get it advertised in time and have it get paid out. Maybe we could ask Allison on that if she's on. Supposedly she's on. I can't see the screen, but.
Good morning. Can you see me?
Yep.
So one of the things that has been discussed or just started being discussed yesterday is opening the grant up for one more round, $1,000 grants to businesses who have been affected by this latest order. So that would be restaurants, bars,
gyms,
that kind of thing. But the thing is that there might be a restaurant out there that didn't apply the first time because they maybe didn't think they needed it at the time, would like to apply to this. Most
Well, that's
people
what I
who
was
would
thinking.
apply to this would probably be reoccurring, yes, but we still do need to advertise this publicly to make it fair.
Can we do that?
Not in time.
In a week? Not even close.
In order to be in the paper next week, the deadline is this Wednesday. But it would run in the paper on Wednesday the 2nd.
Yeah, see, it's too late then.
Comes out after the first. There's no point to that. I look at it from the perspective that these people in round one and round two made their application. After the application was made comes this new restriction from the governor. We're helping those that have already applied and are now facing more restrictions in those particular businesses, be it the gyms, the restaurants, and the bars. And if somebody didn't apply before, we don't have time for them now. Otherwise, throw the $30,000 back into the payroll deal. I just thought it would be nice if we could do something for the local businesses in Houston County that are going to be suffering again from this new restriction that was put on. And I think it'd be a great thing if we could do that. And I'm not too concerned about the advertising because most everybody that we've got went through the process in the first place. This is just an additional help for them.
Well, nobody's arguing about not giving them some additional help. That's not the argument. Just that we're going to be audited on this. We have to be careful. That's all I'm saying. That's my concern. That's all.
If this is going to be audited, then we have to disperse the funds by December 1st. In which case,
I think we just don't have a choice other than to go back to the ones that we've already had on the list.
Well, how many people from round two applied and we ran out of money? Is there any applications there that we ran out of money and they didn't get it?
No.
Is there any of
No,
those?
all eligible businesses were awarded. The ones that were not awarded were not eligible because maybe they weren't from Houston County or that kind of thing.
So we know we had no applicants that could qualify for it. Like, I mean,
If the commissioners choose to not advertise this in the Argus, I think we should still advertise it because we can't meet that Argus deadline. I
We
think
could put it on the
should still
website.
advertise it on the website, on Facebook with the chambers. And then we would have to probably get the new form out today, which I've been working on for one day because I've only known about this for one day. And then they would have to have it back to us by when in order to cut that check, those checks by
Monday.
Okay.
And can we cut checks the same day we get the thing back?
yes.
Okay. I mean, this is going to be a really quick
Personal.
turnaround. Yes, we want to help the businesses, but we also just want to try to do some advertising to make it fair too, because the county does have an obligation to be fair because it is the county.
Then I think we're going to have to forget this 30,000 because we do not have time to do all that horsing around. Putting out the ad, putting out the information. And then somebody's going to say, well, I didn't see it online because I don't look every day and I didn't have notification. I think the people that have applied already, and I think there's about 30 of them when I did my count, that's sufficient. That suffices. And if advertising.
The other thing is, if you look at the ones that we have, some of them didn't list an email. I mean, I can try to contact them all, yes, very quickly, but there just may be someone that gets missed. So I would like to try to advertise on every channel possible, even if we can't do the Argus. Just because, if we type in an email wrong or someone didn't give us an email and we didn't tell them and others get it. I mean, I just think it's important to try to let everybody know in a very fair way, because otherwise the county could get in trouble for discriminating against businesses.
we're not discriminating. We're dealing with the businesses in the county that took advantage of the first opportunity and have now going to suffer because of this new regimentation from the governor. We're helping them additionally. And if we got to go through all of that business that, you know, you're talking about, Allison and Eric and whatnot, we don't have time. It isn't going to take place.
Well, I've already written the press release, so I could easily send that at least to the chambers, which would be the same thing that I already have the ad.
That'd be something. As long as we could do something like that, that would give us a little coverage. Otherwise, what are you thinking, Bob? That you would just contact these 30 restaurants or gyms and tell them that we're going to give you another $1,000? Is that what you're saying, or what?
That's what I'm saying. The previously approved, in my opinion, 30, we send them an extra grand.
So are all those 30 businesses still going? I don't know.
A couple have now closed, so I probably wouldn't contact them if they're no longer in operation, or they weren't in operation when this latest executive order came out. Or what would you want us to do?
So out of these 30, are they all from different cities or all one town or where?
Countywide.
Okay.
I think we should go ahead and send 1,000 to the ones that have previously applied. In addition, the additional because of the lockdown, those that are still in existence. But I also think it won't hurt to put it on the website or Facebook or in the chambers, just to cover our audit, but.
Well,
I
and
agree.
also what we need to do is, I'm working on an addendum right now, but we do need to have them sign something and say that yes, they were affected by this latest order. And that will also protect them, because if they didn't lose $1,000 worth of revenue, or they don't have an eligible expense worth $1,000, and we just send them $1,000, they could potentially get audited by the state or the federal government or us. And if they haven't been able to show where they use that $1,000, they could get in trouble. So it is important that we still have them send us something saying, yes, we want this extra $1,000 and we can use it. Or yes, send us $500. That's all we can use. Just to protect not only us, but them.
Right. They, because of the way our program was set up to begin with, they had to provide documentation. This would be the same thing. They would need to say, yes, in this 2 weeks since the governor ordered this shutdown, I've lost $1,000 or I've lost 500. You know, it really seems.
But it would be an addendum to their previous application, because we've already have all of that information from them.
They still would have to, if they justified $5,000 in expenses before, they'd have to justify an additional $1,000.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So we'll leave it up to Allison's discretion then to seek out 30 businesses. Correct?
And put it on the website and Facebook and the chambers.
In 2 days.
In 2 days.
Is there,
You're welcome.
is there another avenue to use the 30,000 for a good cause and scrap this?
Oh no, because we're up against a deadline here, so we can't create something new. We just don't have time.
We could move it into the payroll.
Yeah, that's what. If we don't use it for this, we'll have to put it into payroll. And is that going to be justified when it comes audit time?
Yeah, the amounts that we can show in payroll more than exceed what we're moving into there.
Well, if we put it into payroll and then next year there's some surplus funds, could we then do just our own county program if there's some specific need out there that hasn't been met?
Out of the general budget?
Yeah. Call it whatever, COVID relief, Houston County, I don't know what you named it, but Just a thought.
And there's, you know, we don't know what's going to come out of the federal government with additional rounds of aid programs too. So there might be something coming back out too. But
I have a hard, tough. I got a bad feeling, Jack, that we're not going to be in that position come next summer. We're going to have county aid being cut and everything else. So
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree, Eric. I'm real uncomfortable with this last minute scramble.
I mean, we can try.
well,
to
whatever
make
you
it
guys
work.
decide, I gotta go. So
We want to help the businesses. I feel more comfortable about it if we at least try to advertise really quickly through some other avenues, just to cover getting the word out a little bit better in case, you know, I can't get a hold of someone or their email doesn't work or something like that.
Okay.
Why can't we put it into the wages and then we can take that 30,000 and put it towards our steps?
No, we can't do the steps.
Well, we gotta make a decision.
mhm.
Yep.
I mean, I've got a lot of faith in Allison, so if she thinks she can pull this off, I'm okay with that.
I'm more concerned about the people that say, well, I didn't find out and I didn't know because I didn't, and now you shorted me instead of just using the people that we already know about it. I don't see how we can get everything you want to do done in.
Okay,
So-
then are you suggesting, Bob, should we just scrap it, put the 30 into payroll and move on?
If we got to go through all of this advertising business and whatnot, then we might as well scrap, in my opinion.
Well, we won't be able to advertise in the Argus, but I already have the press release written, so I could copy and paste it on Facebook and put it on the website. So our reach is just a little bit farther. Because I don't know for sure if I can get a hold of everyone who's applied thus far.
Yep. Well, the thought was we'd like to help the businesses that are going to be affected by this
Yep.
new change, new direction by the governor with regard to the pandemic and the issues in regard to that.
I make the motion that we add it to payroll. Did you hear my motion?
I heard your motion to scrap the 30,000 and leave it in the surplus that we would use against payroll.
Yes.
There's a second to that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to approve, and this is action item number 3, approve the CARE Act allocations as was presented by Jeff, with the exception of the $30,000 down below not being included in assistance to business, but rather just leave it in the surplus that may or may not be used against the payroll and county expenses because of COVID. Is that correct?
Yes, I think.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we will turn the vote over to Jeff.
All right, District 1,
Yes.
District 2, not present, District 3,
No.
District 4,
Yes.
and District 5.
No,
All right, you have a split vote, Board Chair.
Yep. So the motion fails. So the question then remains, do we approve what has been presented with the 30,000 in there to assist local business, county
Sorry,
business?
can I chime in one more time? I'm sorry. I think, yes, it would only be open for businesses affected by the latest executive order. I'll put a quick thing on Facebook and the website, and I will try to reach every single business that falls into that category, those 30 that already applied. But if we put it on Facebook, that way if someone doesn't answer their phone or check their email, they might see it there too. So we can do it. It's just, I would feel most comfortable with it if we just advertise a couple other avenues just in case.
So what happens if we only get 22 businesses and we have 30,000 allocated?
The rest left over would get rolled over into the payroll.
Right.
I'll make a motion that we go with Allison to give it out to the 30 businesses or as many she can get.
And that being the businesses that are still in business.
Yep, the ones that are in business and got money the first round.
Okay. I'll second.
Enroll the difference into payroll.
Correct. I'll second Greg's motion. Further discussion.
As far as executing, this was my bright idea. So I will, of course, work with Allison to finalize the form, send out the email, and split up the list of potential contacts to make phone calls to. So not dumping the whole thing on her.
Further discussion? Hearing none, we'll turn the vote over to Jeff.
All right. Try again. District 1.
Yes.
District 2, not present. District 3.
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
Passes. Allison, when we're done here, I will contact you and we'll finalize the form and get that out.
Moving on to action item number 4, the one that we transferred from the consent agenda, that being approval of the competitive search for an appraiser, trainee, certified Minnesota appraiser, accredited Minnesota appraiser.
The reason I asked to table this action is because we haven't heard when the mediation is going to be, and if it's within the next week, we aren't going to lose much time, and we'll know exactly what we need to advertise for.
Assuming the mediation.
The mediation is on December 9th. This is Tess.
Oh, that's not that far off.
I'd like to add something too, that since we started having Lilani not being able to work, my staff has been putting in extra overtime. Overtime costs the county 1.5 per hour, and it's also starting to burn them out a little bit. Now, we have fought for many years understaffed, and we finally got pulled up to staff. And if you want to say that we don't get things done in time, then maybe we need enough help to get things done in time.
I refer back to what Jack had said before with regard to this. And Tess, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but we can advertise for the position and review. We don't necessarily have to hire somebody. I mean, if situation changes or whatnot, but we're kind of getting ahead of the gun and rather than waiting and getting farther behind. We don't have to hire, correct?
No, that doesn't commit you to hiring. That just is a seeking applicants.
Right.
Without a commitment.
And that would make sense to me, only from the point of view is like Sandy said, that this leaves us shorthanded, and the longer we wait, the longer we'll be shorthanded. And if things change, we don't know what's going to happen until the mediation process is over, if that resolves the issue in itself.
Well, in the search itself, well, we have a posting. The posting takes about 3 weeks. That's a posting. Then you have the lead time to get it posted. You have the posting. Then you have the time for consideration of applicants, and then you have the setting the calendar for interviews. It's a lengthy process when you do a full competitive search, any way you look at it. We could pull the plug on that just at any point in that process.
I think, again, given the number of qualified candidates out there, which seems to be rather limited, I think we need to start establishing some kind of a pool potential.
I agree.
Well, it's gonna take 3 weeks to get all this information or get anything back, so, and our hearing's on the 9th of December, so we'll have our hearing in before we even decide to hire anybody. Correct?
That's right.
So I guess going out and searching for some good candidates, I don't have a problem with that because we probably won't have any candidates by the time the hearing comes.
That's right.
So I would make a motion to go ahead with this suggestion or with this, whatever we tabled.
The approval for the competitive search for the appraiser, blah, blah, blah.
That's what I meant to say, Bob.
Got a motion, is there a second? I'll second the motion.
There you go. That's fine.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion.
I'm not opposed to looking for an appraiser position at all. I'm just thinking if we can wait till mediation, we would know exactly what we're looking for. But then,
Can I add something? We are not guaranteed mediation will end this. It could go to arbitration also, which would put us into next year.
I think we should proceed like we are.
Further discussion? Hearing none, I'll turn the vote over to Jeff. Eric, is Eric back? I see his.
He left
camera.
his computer on, but he's not
Okay.
there. So District 1,
Yes.
District 2, not present yet. District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
no,
District 5.
Yes.
Okay, passes 3-2,
Thank you, commissioners.
3-1.
You. So moving on, that's the end of action items. We'll now go to discussion items. First is the administration updates.
All right, just a few things. Not on there. First, highway project is moving along. There's plenty of dirt piles moved from one spot of the yard to the other. Salt sand shed gone. And Brian's crew was able to reassemble the sheriff's impound facility on its new spot, and they did a pretty good job. Most of the walls even look straight, so no, they did a very good job. It looks good over there, and it gives the sheriff a bit of secluded parking behind that as well. So happy to see that progress. It was discussion last week on the auditor treasurer Manning. We met with a small group and looked at some of our options for immediate solutions, and then a plan to go forward with more short and long-term solutions. One of the immediate solutions put into place is I did have a talk with the surveyor's office about them providing additional support to that process. And I will also be talking with Schneider just to make sure they're doing everything they can be to supporting as well. Beyond that, did some inquiries with Sue and Donna, we're both on here, to address workload and trying to establish what the baseline is. And we're still working to establish that, but a couple of the data points last year, they processed 3,600 property transactions through the recorder's office. So far this year, we're over 3,800. So there is an increase in documents, but we haven't dialed down into all the different types of documents to show just exactly how that's affecting the workload increases. Donna has since chimed in and responded back to one of my inquiries for some of this information with discussion that her and her staff have talked, and they think they can get through the end of the year and then have some more discussions on procedures and such. So, so for right now, our immediate interim solutions that we're putting into place are some additional help from the surveyor office. And then we'll continue to explore some of those other immediate solutions and see what we can pull in. I did have a conversation with not all, but several of our surrounding county administrators and asked what extra capacity they might have to support us and help out. And they all collectively responded with, if you find extra capacity, let us know, we need it too. So unfortunately, nobody offered up much help to us. They said they're all pretty swamped as well. Let's see, just a reminder, of course, it is a short week with the holiday, and so the office buildings here will be closed Thursday, Friday with the holiday. And wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and however it's celebrated differently this year. The TNT schedule, we have the hearing scheduled for the 8th of December. We'll offer that. We'll encourage online participation, of course, but we will have to offer a hybrid solution to that to allow public participation for those that are not able to join online. That the documentations have been, Carol can chime in and correct me if I'm wrong, but the documentation has all been sent to our vendor that provides those notifications out to the public. We expect those to be in the mail any day now. Carol, have you heard anything different?
Jeff, can I just interrupt here? This is Donna. Yes, we got notification that they were in the mail. They were mailed yesterday. So we should get them tomorrow or the mailboxes by Friday for sure. So they're on their way.
All right, excellent.
Been delivered. Thank
Happy
you.
Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
You.
I think those all come out of Donna's office. I know she's been working.
Yep.
Well, it took a little bit to get them out, but we finally got the file, and thanks to Carolyn, we got them ready, and I asked for them to expedite it, so they did a really good job. I'm really happy with Master's Touch. So they've done a really fantastic job for us at the county.
And then lastly, some budget discussions. Meant to pencil in some dates. Right now, the Finance Committee had a discussion this morning. Bob has brought some suggestions forward to help reduce the budget. And then we have another Finance Committee meeting scheduled next Tuesday morning to readdress some of those. And then probably next week sometime we could set up a meeting with the full board as a work group session to address any other budget questions. And I think that's what I have for the group.
You know, all these calendar changes, I know we canceled our December calendar because of AMC,
Yep.
which we are now meeting on Monday for AMC. Are we going back to the 2nd and 4th for regular meeting dates and the 1st and 3rd for workshops?
I think for December, I would propose that we keep the schedule that we have regular meetings on the 1st and the 15th.
Okay.
Which is on our annual schedule. If you would like, we can have a work group session on the 8th, which we had originally canceled that day, but we have the Truth and Taxation hearing that night. So if you'd like to have a work group session specific to look at budget questions that day on the 8th, we can add that back on the schedule.
I think we need to in order to set our levy on the 15th.
Mhm.
We need that work group session
Yep.
with the Finance Committee.
I got an email too about the AMC meeting. Make sure you register. Can we just do that as a group?
I did mine right away last week.
Me too.
Okay, I'll do it online then.
Very easy.
Commissioner Walter, you've registered. Burns is registered. Miller has not. I can take care of that if you'd like me to.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Yep. All right, Greg, I'll take care of yours as well. And I will check with Commissioner Johnson and see if he has yet.
Also, on another note, the commissioners do need to go through the benefit enrollment. If you didn't receive an email from Ann, let her know and we'll get you set up. Teresa, you finished yours,
Yes.
but the others still do need to. You may not participate in any of our plans aside from having the life insurance that the county provides. And you still have to have your enrollment done.
Yes.
So when I disregarded that and just threw it in the trash, I wasn't supposed to do that.
No.
Golly,
So I just dumped it. So I got to find it back and do it.
Yeah.
That would be correct.
Okay.
Or have Ann send another one.
Oh, I can find it in my trash. It's not a problem. I just thought as long as I wasn't taking advantage of anything, what's the point? And I threw it away. Okay.
Well, the county does provide the life insurance, and you have to acknowledge that you're getting that. So
They need your signature
yes.
on the computer. Mine looks really good.
I apologize. I'll find it back. Just so I understand, then we're meeting next month, starting next week, on the Tuesdays, and we'll meet on the 1st and the 8th and the 15th.
Yes, regular board meeting on the 1st, work group session on the 8th, regular board meeting on the 15th, and that'll close out December.
Okay. Tentatively.
Tentatively.
So as far as so I don't know if we've talked about the budget, the TNT plans, the in-person, is that going to be in the basement of the criminal justice or the county justice center?
Yeah, well, I'll have to set it up there. Yep.
Tentatively, okay. So we're down to commissioner reports. Again, I think traditionally we start with Teresa.
I know, but I got a few things here. First of all, I got a call from our Houston County Historical Society about requesting us to really consider strongly using the legacy grant or the grant for the steps because it could play a part in our future endeavors to get grants. But so I said, we are still gathering information on that. I don't think we even got the forms yet that we received the grant. At least I haven't heard that we did. So anyway, also I have some kind of interesting news, and I think Jack will be kind of happy to hear this one. I got a call from Brian that he got contacted by MnDOT about redoing that intersection of County 3 and Highway 26. And what they're thinking is they would raise the whole area and do a roundabout. And that would slow traffic down past Brownsville. It would actually aid that gas station, which is right there, because people are pulling into the gas station to see around the corner practically. But he's working on it. I just told him I would bring it up to the board to say we actually, after 10 years of asking for it, they're doing something to look at it.
Good. That is good news because I'm so tired of saying to Janet, will you please turn your head and look?
Yeah. Well, evidently MnDOT was down there with one of their trucks and they had to pull into the other lane to see around the corner before they pull out.
Yeah, it's a bad setup. So, well, thank you.
So we're finally moving forward on that. I had workforce development meeting. Of course, with all the layoffs and stuff, they're very busy trying to help people find jobs, get education. So that's just, we have an extra meeting in December of it. One of the interesting ones I thought was Mail with their 70,000 employees, which includes Arizona, Florida, and Rochester, have to cut $3 billion by December 31st because they're down that much in their budgets. They're hoping next year it'll all come back, but so what they're doing is they're cutting salaries, they're cutting, they're doing furloughs, they're cutting off fringe benefits except for healthcare coverage. They have a hiring freeze on, and they're ending many of their service contracts right now. And they're using their financial reserves, which, boy, that's a big industry for Minnesota. And they're really suffering this year. So we probably will be too. But that's how they're handling it all with their employees. And I had EMS. I thought one of the things that they're having a little stress, and maybe our money today that we're giving will help. They're getting so many requests for PPE, like face masks, the 95 ones, you know, things that the ambulance and fire stations need. Wabasha evidently used some of their care money to buy out ambulance for their county. So that was kind of interesting. They needed one anyway, and they were able to justify it with the care money. Rice County has seen a big uptake on their opioid use, and they started a new rehab program in Rice County that could go statewide through public health or MDH. I did do the canvas board with Donna and Eric, and boy, Donna, 6 elections this year, did just an awesome job. No problems at all. I got a letter from Solid Waste, La Crosse County Solid Waste, that they're raising their fees next year to justify their cost. And what I was actually forwarded to all of you, so you see what the fees are going to be raised to. But one of them that I noticed, they're raising their $2 per tire to $7 per tire. So that was a big increase because we did not raise anything at this meeting. I had policy meeting. I'm sure all of you did too with AMC. We basically went with the same things that we brought up originally with on the AMC district meeting. Fillmore County Board of Health meeting this afternoon at 1 o'clock. So Houston County shows up.
Thank you,
Well-
Teresa. I was going to mention that as well, so.
Okay.
Who's gonna send out the link?
It's on the Heather's email unless you put it in
Yeah,
your
I think Heather
password.
sent something.
But maybe Heather should send it out again.
Okay, we'll do that.
They're WebEx, they're not Zoom.
Okay.
That'd be nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Teresa, I was just gonna mention, I don't think it was emailed to us, but I don't think we mentioned it at a meeting on your EMS committee. Tim from Mower passing away
Oh,
very unexpectedly.
very much so. I haven't heard exactly why yet, but
No, I haven't either, but
medical reasons is all I was told.
yeah, swell guy and a real advocate for EMS.
Very much so. And he was our chair for the last 5 years for sure. He's
Yeah,
did an awesome job.
yep, very sad.
Yeah. And I think that's all I had. I had the December calendar as our last item, and we already took care of that. So
Thank you, Teresa.
here.
Jack, what do you got?
Well, I would just follow up on what Teresa said. I got calls too on, and I would be concerned too that if we turn down the grant, I don't think it's going to really help us in the future. I think we're on kind of a train here as far as future potential grants, and for us to snub our nose at this one, I think probably not a good idea. I think we should incorporate it. If it costs us some county money, we haven't even gotten the quote back, so perhaps it won't affect us much at all, but I think we need to follow through with it, in my opinion. Just from some of you may have gotten the email from a La Crescent resident, but someone decided to redo Stony Point, which is kind of iconic in La Crescent. I've climbed it dozens of times with my daughters when they were young. And so I'm going to follow up with La Crescent City and see exactly what's going on there. But it's, again, something that I never heard anything about until it's done. And then you start asking, well, why was it done and by whom and under what authority? So I'll see what I can find out.
I don't think we got that email about it. I never heard anything.
Oh, it's, I thought it came in from, I can't think of her name now, but it may be in your email now.
Okay.
I'm not sure when she sent it out. Linda Gasper. But I got the call from Bonnie Lyman, who does a lot of snowshoeing with groups, women groups and that, and they always went up there, and now she said they're not going to be able to access it because they cut trees down that they use to hang on to climb it. And so anyway, it's more of a La Crescent issue, but I was contacted and thought I would fill you in. That's all I have, Bob.
All right, thank you, sir. Greg, what do you got?
Oh, I guess I took in a public health meeting yesterday. That was very interesting. Learned a lot. Finance, you had it with me this morning. Running pretty good. I guess we're not too far out of line, but we got a lot of stuff we got to get figured out in the next 2 weeks. We get that all done, I think we'll be okay. So that's about all I got, I guess.
Okay. Then it's my turn. Like Greg said, we had our finance meeting this morning. We're going to have another one next Tuesday before our work group session so that we can see what we can do to find more ways to reduce our expenses and increase our capacity. I also had the call from the Historical Society with regard to the $71,000, and I understand their concern with regard to future grant applications like the new roof on the courthouse and things like that. That if we turn down this grant, we may be out for future grants. But at the same time, I told her that, you know, the steps have been an issue for a long time, and if the steps can be done for considerably less money, I mean, we've got $71,000 in the budget, and if we can do it for say $30,000. That's a lot of money that we as a board have to look at with regard to our budget and our expenses. I understand that we have a concern with regard to future grants, but we also have current expenditure issues to deal with. The other thing, I went to the AMC meeting for transportation. Not a whole lot of change. There is one member on the transportation committee from the metro area who pushes hard for metro things that to be important to all of the state of Minnesota. One of the things that she wanted was to have electrical charging stations included in the requirements or requests that go to the DOT, so that we'd have a lot more charging stations installed on public lands, be it county parking lots or city parking lots or rest areas or whatnot. That did not get approved by the Transportation Committee. That one, it's a little early in the game as far as putting electrical charging stations all over the place. Two, when somebody wants to build a gas station, the state isn't paying for that. So why would the state be paying for all these charging stations to benefit people that buy electric cars? So that was kind of a lengthy discussion at that meeting. Otherwise, I went to the Health and Human Services meeting yesterday and all of that. So I think that, and we've talked about that. So that's about all I've got to say. Anybody got anything?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
That's something good to say. Is there a second to that motion?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, excuse me. Turn it over to Jeff.
District 1.
Yes.
District 2, not present. District 3.
Yes.
District 4.
Yes.
District 5.
Yes.
Passes at 11:05.